Welcome, Jane. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. Would you just like to tell everybody that's listening a little bit about yourself and how you kind of started on your journey?
I used to be a financial advisor. For 25 years I was a financial advisor. And then I had an accident and my leg got badly damaged. So I couldn't walk for 12 months and then I had to be taught to walk again. And during that time, I met another psychic and she taught me how to meditate, because I think that was the key. That's the key to everything I do, meditation. And I met my spirit guide, who I call Lightfoot, who's a Native American, and Luna, who's my white wolf. And I then started to go to a psychic healing centre in mid-Wales, which I believe is no longer there. And I went through different workshops. So somebody would take me, I would hobble in my crutches, and then I would do all the different courses that they offered there, such as therapy courses, psychic courses, how to read cards. So I was there probably for a good 2.5 years, and because that was my pastime, because of course I've always been busy in my head. And then when I could walk again, or at least drive, I realised I couldn't do my financial advising, because even though I lived in mid-Wales, I actually worked in Solihull. So it was a 2-hour drive there, a 2-hour drive back every day, and there's no way my leg could cope with that. And I just had to make some decisions in my life, and this is what pulled me.
Wow.
So I gave up full-time, I was self-employed job, and committed to this with the help of spirit.
That takes a lot of courage to go from a full-time job to then taking that leap of faith in going to following this calling. You know, do you think there's a lot of people out there that are perhaps may be in a similar situation where they're in that job and they're not following their passion?
Yeah, I think we live in a lot of fear. I think we're fearful of not having money. We're fearful of what other people think of us. I actually had a lady come on Saturday, and she wanted to offer therapies at the psychic centre I run. And she said, I said, but you work full time? And she said, yes. I said, but you've got to give up one of those days to show that commitment to the universe that this is what you want to do. And she said, but I can't do that. I said, well, you need to walk away then. Until you can give that commitment. I actually said to Spirit, I need this amount of clients a week, and it wasn't silly amounts, so I can pay my bills. If you give me that, I will do this. And that's what they provided and more.
Do you think that's because you had that clear guidance where a lot of people don't trust in that?
I think I was pushed, circumstances where I walked away from a relationship. And the house I had was lovely. It was a lovely house. I had, like I said, stables, horses. And we had to sell that. And it had been on the market for 4 years. And my belief is I turned around to the house and said, it's time to let me go now. I need to go. And a man came into my life, who I'm now married to. And around the same time, a couple who actually worked in Egypt and lived in France, came to see the house and fell in love with it. And she turned around to me and she said, we agreed the price. She said, I need you to look after this house for me for 9 months rent-free. Wow. You pay all the bills. And if you do that for us, you live here, and when we're ready, we'll come and live here. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow. Just
before that Christmas, myself and my now husband moved in together in Shrewsbury. And so it was all about alignment. Because if I had to pay rent somewhere, it would have been a different matter. But it was all about the alignment come. So I believe Spirit helped. And the one thing she did, which I'm a believer of, before she walked into my house, she put her hand on the bricks at the front of the house and asked its permission to walk in.
Oh, wow.
Incredible.
And the house loved her. And that was it. And that changed my life completely.
So basically, by you surrendering, trusting, and asking Spirit or the universe or whatever people's belief systems are, then things started to fall into place, synchronicities. Is that what you're...
Yeah, I mean, if you'd asked me that 4 years before, I'd have just said, nah, doesn't happen.
So if somebody's listening right now and they are in a job that they're not enjoying and in a bit of a stuck situation, what would be kind of your words of wisdom to help them get out of that situation?
Well, when I read for people, I'll often say to people, put it on a piece of paper. Put the job at the top of the paper and put the pros and cons of staying there. Because I think when it's in your head, it's like it just constantly goes round and round and round. Where if you actually put it on a piece of paper, it actually sinks in deeper. It's like when we write a letter to somebody, or we're forgiving, or that type of thing, or manifesting. We're physically writing down what it is that we want, what is it that we desire, who is it that we want to forgive, what we need to release. So when you have to make a decision, for me, it's about writing things down the old-fashioned way, not on computer, because often it's yourself then telling you your truth. And then it's the same with relationships. Why are you with that person? Whether it's a love relationship or a friendship, why are you there?
So when you trust in your guidance, what do you is it a feeling? Is it something that you hear? So like we mentioned earlier, some people don't trust in their own guidance, or don't trust, they think, oh, am I making this up? Is this something that's like outside of myself? So what is it, what do you experience for you to go, no, that's the right decision?
Now I meditate, and I ask before I meditate. It's my intention when I'm meditating is like I am asking for guidance for a certain thing, and that's how it shows itself to me. Or my guides will talk to me, shout at me quite often, tell me off for saying certain things.
It's interesting you say about the writing down, because we were talking recently how I've been recently doing some work on myself and shifting a few things around, and just by writing it down, it does work. I don't know whether writing it down, it embeds it more in the subconscious and then filters into the conscious. But it is a really powerful tool. And people don't, I suppose we talk, don't we? And we go, yeah, I'll do that. And this is what I want to do. But just by writing it down seems to kind of activate it or something, don't you think?
I believe so. I think a lot of words are deflections.
Yeah.
Not many people can take a compliment, I find. But if you insult somebody, they'll accept it completely.
That's so true.
It is.
So
it is.
True.
The only time we talk about happy things is at somebody's funeral. How many people actually have a happy conversation? Not many. I see a lot of clients, and I think as a reader, is 70% of people I meet need help in some form. And that's why Mystique for me, which is the centre that I run in Shrewsbury, for me I wanted to be a one-stop shop, because what it was about, it was psychics and therapists that got me through some of the very darkest times, because I've been to the dark places, the very darkest times of my life of not wanting to be here, and it was them that kept me going. It was Alexander therapy that taught me to walk again, for example.
Yeah.
And so, but if you'd met me 5 years before, I wouldn't say I was a completely different person, but I'd say I'm home now. And when you come home, I actually had a client come the other day, and it was lovely. She went, Jane, I've come home. Isn't it the most fantastic feeling you'll ever get? And that's where my passion is. It's not about, I'm not a business head at all. I'm too generous, I'm told. But it's about just helping one person in this world. If each soul helped one other soul, what a bloody lovely world we'd live in. It's not about perfection, because no one's perfect.
No.
It's not about regret, because we can't change the past. It's about forgiving.
Yeah.
But truly forgiving.
Do you think then that the experiences that you had, you on some level had to go through that, or called that in for you to be in the place that you are now? Because like you said, you had some really dark moments. Well, obviously within that was the shift to put you where you are now, and that's
Correct,
going through the uncomfortableness. Sometimes it's not always easy. But do you think that's what happened with you?
I think so, and I think it has to be the right time. I think it's all about timing. Sometimes we want something too soon, and sometimes we can stay in situations thinking we can save that other person when all it does is destroy you. And it's that having that courage to walk away and realise you can't save everyone if they don't want to be saved.
Well, no, it's an
and that's what it
job,
taught
isn't
me.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about the word coming home.
Yes.
I really feel that, and I really resonate with that, because I don't know why when we come into this society, we're kind of, for me, growing up at school, I was separated from myself, and it's taken me till now and I'm still integrating that old version into that new version. But because we're not born and we're not home within ourselves, we have to go on this journey of coming home, and I just think that's so powerful. And I know you mentioned that we spoke briefly earlier about that's one of your gifts that you use and like to work with people about connecting. You mentioned connecting with our soul.
Yes.
Can you sort of talk more about that?
Everything I talk about is what I believe, and I'm really passionate even when I'm teaching people to be psychics or readers or mediums, is go and see other people how they work, go and experience different therapists, go and experience different teachers and mentors, because what you'll do, you'll take a little bit off each one and then become your unique self. You know, I've got a couple of clients that want to be a replica of me. I'm a Scorpio, and I'm a traditional Scorpio.
Oh, you're a Scorpio.
I am. You don't want that side of me. Yeah. But she's private Jane. I'm Jane Lightfoot. There's two bits of me, how I see things. And I think the way Spirit has worked with me, and my healing guides have worked with me, and I work a lot with Archangel Azrael, who I think is a fascinating angel to work with, is we have a soul that sits here.
Right.
And that is a light source. So for me, I only go cold with Spirit if they physically touch me, because we're energy. So therefore energy puts out power. So when there's a lot of Spirit in the room, I feel like I'm being incinerated. It's very, very hot. And it's going to sound mad, but
nothing sounds mad.
Okay. So I see our brain as two bits. I know there's more than two bits.
Yeah.
And you've got the logic brain, and you've got your psychic side, your creative side. And I see that is really connected like a copper wire all the way through to your soul seat. Now, in your logic brain, this is my belief, that's where we carry our fear, our worry, our anxiety, our intellect, for example. So if you meet anybody that's very intellectual, no insults here, they don't have a lot of common sense.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't, because they're in the logic. Now, we have to have a small amount of fear, because that stops us jumping off a building or jumping into a lake. But when you look at your anxiety, your regret, and everything else that's in there, that will get to a point where it overtakes your creative side, your psyche side, and you lose yourself a little bit, and you allow other people to control you. Does that make sense?
That makes it interesting.
Totally makes sense. So I try and help people. I shouldn't use the word try. I intend to help people to say, well, is that a real fear? It's like if you do empowerment workshops, is that a realistic fear or not? So when I read for people, it's like, right, what is your fear? So this year I faced my fear and did a zip wire, which I hated and swore. And the grandkids didn't realise I knew that word so much.
I so want to do that.
Oh, no. And we did water rafting, white water rafting, which I loved, even falling in the rapids. But those were my fears for this year. You know, I'm getting old now, so it's like I wanted to face things. So when I'm sitting with people, is that if you allow all that negativity, so you've got this light that shines here, it's like a light. And every time you hold on to something that is negative, that you have done, or somebody has done to you, or somebody you love, you put like a net curtain over it. Too many net curtain, it dulls. And your battery starts wearing out. So I wish we could plug each other in sometimes. I just show people how they can start removing these net curtains to see their truth, to see who they are.
Net curtains, I love that.
So I believe we're all born pure. I really do believe that. And I believe it is things that happen in our lives that turn us into the people we choose to become. And it is about choice. Yeah, you can have, you know, I'll have people in they really struggle with the way their parents were growing up. And they don't want to be a replica of their mother or their father. That's choice. It's easier for the nurture bit to come in, isn't it? It's easy to be horrible, because that's how your parents were.
Yeah.
And so this is where, for me, it's all about, we have choice in life. And all that happened to me was I realised I had a choice. So I forgave myself. I forgave those people that caused me the pain I went through. I had lovely parents. I'm one of 10 kids. I'm very lucky, and I'm always very lucky that I've had children of my own, because some people can't. So I always look at, but I'm not a do-gooder by any means. Don't ever think that about me. I've got a dark side.
You've got a sting
We
to
all
your
have
tail.
a
Some people are very scared of me when they meet me. They go, God, you're scary.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just my defence mechanisms. If you meet people and they're very defensive, I don't know if I can say this word, they'll have a bitch face.
Yeah.
But for me, that's just a defence mode. And when you get past it, so all of us, when you look in anybody's eyes, there's always a little light in there. And that's where I go fishing, to see what I can find.
Let's talk about this, because you mentioned that you trained yourself to read people's eyes. And obviously we hear that cliche word, the eyes are the windows to your soul. So when you say that you have trained yourself in reading people's eyes, can you tell us about that?
That's just come over the years. I'll sit with somebody and I'll go, like, for yourself.
I don't mind you reading mine.
So like, very
do.
much witch within you.
And
the way I see witches is you'd have been a witch in a previous life, but it means realistically you'd look more at herbal remedies. You'd find that a lot of things that are in our food or in our water don't suit you. That's because you'll go down. It doesn't mean you go round and you get all the herbs out of the garden, for example, but you'll find chemicals won't agree with you.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because that's the witch side of you.
Yeah.
So you're different, you're more wolf.
Oh,
So
really?
you're wolfy. So wolves are very... So witches are lovely. Do you like to be in nature? Trees will be important to you. Water, anything natural will be where you pull. But you'll want to heal people using more natural stuff. So things like Reiki or chakra ascension, whatever sort of healing modality you choose to do. But you'll probably be pulled a lot to females rather than males when it comes to healing for some reason.
It's quite interesting, you're kind of like really spot on.
Yeah.
Even though I have been working with an incredible male client recently, and that's been a different transition because predominantly most of the people that I work with are female.
Yeah.
But so
but don't you find more men are becoming more sensitive
and
open
to kind of doing this work? Because I think society has always led men on a different path, like women, like the work that I do. We talk about like the power of the way that women come together and we talk, and pre-biblical times, they used to have like the red tent movement where women used to go, and it was a red tent for a reason, because it's where they went and where they had their babies, where they went through their cycles, where they went to meet, where it was very different for the males. And I think it's this kind of ingrained thing that both of us are trying to change, like where we talk now about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and how we've both got that within us. It's how we harness it, but we still got these old patterns of these I suppose it's kind of like grassroots level. It's that I wouldn't say cavemen, but you know what I mean, that kind of real primal thing that still is very, very strong within us, and we still operate that way. I think a lot of people still operate that way.
Yeah, I think it's more acceptable for men to be able to talk about. 40% of my clients are men, for example, and it is, and they're the biggest criers. I make most people cry, and it's not because I want to make them cry, but I said to, I will get to the wolf. I said to Spirit during lockdown, I said, why do we cry as humans? So why do we cry as humans? You too.
We cry if something upsets us, or pain, or empathy,
remembrance, love.
Perhaps I worded it wrong. So I said, why do we cry? And Spirit said, why do you go to the sea? I said, because the sea heals us. I'm really big on Himalayan salt lamps, massive on them. They heal us. And he goes, what do your tears taste of?
Salt.
So every time you cry, you heal.
Yeah.
So you find people shut down. When they shut themselves down, they don't cry. They just don't. It's like they think it's a weakness. And I think when I read, particularly for men, they realise it's not a weakness, it's a strength.
Yeah.
So for them to be able to cry is really important. Now, it's different when you've got a 15-year-old lad sobbing and the tears are bouncing. You know, you feel bad, and snot crying. Well, bubble crying for me, I have to not laugh. But I will laugh when somebody cries, because spirit will bring the fun back in.
Yeah.
Because crying is so important for us as humans.
Absolutely.
It's about giving ourselves permission. And that's another word I use, giving ourselves permission.
Yeah.
And it is, and it's not. For me, it's that people think they're selfish if they do something for themselves. And I say, as long as it's not egotistic, it's giving yourself permission to know you're worthy of that, that you're worthy to put you first. So wolves, I'm a wolf, by the way. So wolves are very maternal, very protective. Stress levels turn into little Jack Russells. It's snappy. Like our food. Need our sleep. Not always good when we're woken. Would love to be where there's trees. It'll feel home where there's trees and water. You just want that bit. But overall with the wolf, they're very good teachers. Very good. Like to show people how to do things. It's part of, but happy by themselves.
Yeah.
But can work as part of a team.
Yeah.
And probably good psychics wolves are, because it's all intuition with the wolf. All intuition.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you have dragons. Dragons are one of my favourite creatures of all. Dragons just want peace. Dragons are people readers. Like to work people out. Happy to sit on a cloud. If I said you could sit on a cloud. They do need their sleep. Dragons do. Terrible. If they don't get their sleep, they're awful. And very rarely do they allow their fire to come. But when they do, everyone has to duck. But it's really bad.
Wow, okay.
Pixies are more creative, really creative, normally sewing, things like that. So they like to do creative stuff, would love to, a bit shy, like to hide. They'll hide behind things. And then your fairies, there's far more than these, but fairies, very vindictive. I've actually got a fairy as a guide, a pumpkin.
Are you saying all fairies? Because not all of them are vindictive, surely.
But it's your eyes. It's not, if somebody wants to dress up as a fairy, that's completely up to them. If you look at the fairies we could look at ancient history, there weren't these cute little fairies everyone talks about now.
No, they weren't.
They were not, and that's what I always go with. So fairies, for me, are very good at beating themselves up. It's normally they've got no self-worth, they've been put down. And the reason I say they're vindictive is there's a line in the sand with them. You cross it, there's no coming back. And the reason being is that they find it very, very, very hard to forgive themselves. So I believe that you don't need to stay as one of those. At any point you can change.
So it's not set in stone.
No,
you don't have to.
It depends what mood you're in when you sit with me. Wolves normally don't change, nor do witches, but fairies have that ability to become the best version of themselves.
So you're getting this from that person's eyes.
Yes.
And so through that person's eyes, you're picking up what kind of like witch or any animal, spirit animal or anything like that.
Yes.
Talking about eyes, I find really fascinating. Something I've really been noticing. If you look at a photograph of somebody with their going by the left side is the feminine and the right side is the masculine. Sometimes some people's eyes are not quite equal.
Correct.
So you have a protruding masculine eye or a small feminine.
Yes.
And for me, that tells me a lot energetically of they may be blocked on the feminine or the masculine.
That's a bit scientific for me.
Is that something that you look into?
No, never.
You've
No,
never
because if you look at us, we're not symmetrical. I think that's the word I want to get. So we've all got a smaller boob than the other, for example.
Yeah.
Our one eye isn't as big as the other. Our ears can be different. Oh no, it's too techie for me.
Interesting.
Too technical.
It's something that actually a therapist that uses, and actually you can see when that person's been healing the feminine side, then their eyes rebalance out. And since she's told me that, I'm like, I really start noticing it now.
Because don't you look at some eyes and they look like planets?
Yeah.
You know, but they talk about that it's the window to your soul because your eyes stay the same in whatever life you live.
Yeah, of course.
If you believe in past lives, for example, if you have a past life regressionist, they'll say, do you recognise the eyes of anybody there? And actually you do. I do anyway when I have past life.
I've got to say, you're so astute. Like, if something moved, like, you would catch it at the corner eye. You're like, so I can feel your energy is so switch on and you do not miss a thing.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I've been hung for the last 10 minutes I've sat here, so I'm trying to just move that one back a bit.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's I feel like my neck's getting longer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I read, I normally feel how somebody's died.
Oh, so
and that can be very...
Is that what you're picking up from one of us?
It could be anywhere in the building because I pick up energies
course.
from everywhere. So I'm just asking my guides to move them back a bit.
Oh,
So how do you protect yourself from that? Because that could be exhausting.
Well, I do my grounding, I do my bubbling up. But what I always know that anything I feel, as soon as I acknowledge it, it disappears.
Right, okay.
So because I am very well protected, because I work very hard on that. Because when I first started, at the end of every week, I'd be in bed ill.
Oh, okay.
And so it taught me that I had to learn. And that's why when people want to, you know, they really want to, even the paranormal, it's like, oh, I want to be a paranormalist. I want to be a Reiki healer. I want to be this. It's, you've got to put you first. And I think you get over 60 and you're perhaps a little bit more outspoken. And people will come for advice, business advice and holistic stuff. And I always say to each healer, reader, anybody that works in our industry, is you must look after yourself. And there's very few. I will have a healing at least twice a month.
Yeah.
You know, I've got one of these crystal beds. I either get on a bed with one of the therapists, or I'll lie on that bed. Because I've learned that if I don't, I become very, very, very ill.
It's so true, isn't it? Because I think a lot of us in this profession, we don't do that. We're there
for everyone
supporting everyone else, and then when you feel depleted, it's like, well. So, you know, I think whether it's seeing a therapist or having your own practice, whatever that is, just to make sure that you're aligned and protected before you even leave the house. Because we can all do it. We can get up on a morning, you feel absolutely fine. You walk out the front door and before you know it hits you like a truck.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I just want to go back in again. And that's not serving anybody, and especially not yourself. So, yeah, it's either having a morning practice that you stick to and an evening practice. Like for me, it's very much sealing up my bedroom before I go to sleep. Do you know what I mean? And programming that so I have a restful sleep and I don't get interfered at all. I have a good sleep, I must say.
Oh, I sleep really well. I can sleep anywhere. If you used to go to sleep there, I'd go.
I can sleep well. I'm very deep.
I'm a light sleeper.
Unless the cat wakes me up, and that's a different story. But yeah, I think it's very much about, you know, making sure that you have that process for yourself, whether it's your own morning practice or whether it is seeing other therapists. I can be guilty about not doing that enough, if I'm honest. So thank you for the tip. I'll do that.
Well, I always say we all go to the toilet.
Well,
so
true.
Sit on the toilet, I ground, stand up, I bubble. That's just automatic.
What do you mean you bubble? What's
So you've got your auric field, haven't you? Which is massive. And I just imagine a big bubble, and you can have any colour you like. Some people use Pringle boxes. I just imagine a bubble of white light. I step into it.
Pringle boxes?
Yeah, you jump in a Pringle box and put the lid on and it protects you.
No way, I've not heard of that one before.
God,
I've only ever seen the tubes. It's a bit claustrophobic.
Some people put wax on them. Some people put mirrors so it deflects back. I use white light and I step into it. I zip it up behind me and then I have a little mantra just asking it to protect me from harm from within the bubble and from outside. And then I just name everything it could harm me from, like psychic attack, spirit attack, emotional, mental, physical and mechanical attack. Would I stand in front of a bus to check it out? No, I wouldn't.
No. I think energy hygiene is so important.
It's so important.
And actually doesn't really get covered enough when you are training in
Yes.
various different modalities, to be honest. And it's actually a real passion of mine, to be honest. I think
Yes.
it needs to be people, whether you work, if you're a hairdresser or you work in the bank, I think it's really important.
Oh God,
to,
yes.
you
In
know,
nurses, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's about, but I think when it comes to family stuff, it's different, you know, because it's really personal. So it's, you know, I'm very good at advising people, and I do majority of myself, but I'm not perfect. So little things do come in that I have to deal with.
It's always being aware of that, isn't it? Catching
Yes.
yourself, because that's probably where we all need it the most.
It is.
Because we're so interconnected with our families and loved ones that we take on some of their stuff sometimes, and not, you know, you can kind of like let your guard down a little bit, where especially if you're working with clients, there is a detachment.
Yes.
Where, you know, with your own family it's a little bit hard sometimes.
I often say to people is I tend not to worry. There's certain things I do to worry about, but I tend not to worry about my kids. So I'd never dream of looking at my children or what's coming in their lives, because it's not my business. But I've had people that want to train to be card readers so they can use the cards to spy on their children. And that will never happen with me anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's so sad that people can't cut the cords for their children and allow them to live their life, because that's how we learn our lessons. You know?
Wow. So how long have you been reading for, and readings? And
Probably 15 years.
Wow.
I've done it as a full-time job for 15 years.
Yeah. Wow.
And then Mystique is 8 years old.
Yeah, we'll get on to Mystique in a second, because I have seen you online, and you are literally, when you say you're full-time, you are doing
Yes.
it all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess that is there like a collective theme that you see, you know, with people come to you and there's like, oh, this is a third person with this today. Do you notice it?
Yeah,
that
sometimes
happens?
it can. Yeah, some weeks it will be one thing, and that can be an energy issue. Majority come for me for relationship advice, which isn't easy.
No.
I always say I can never tell you to leave somebody, but I'll go through the cards will tell a story. And often the cards are from spirit, they're spirit led, for example. You know, it'll be your nan's giving me this for you. And it's asking somebody, sometimes giving that person the courage to walk away. I think the worst one that I felt guilty about, I do feel guilty, I'm laughing, and I didn't know he was in the car park. And we talked through why she was in this relationship and how she felt about it. I'm not going to go into depth. And she realised that she needed to walk away, so she basically left, because I've got a car park at work, walked in, told him he was dumped. 2 days later, he came and walked in and said, I need you to see me. Yeah, and he said, I was sitting in the car when you told her to dump me. I said, I never told her to dump you. I actually said, what are you getting from that relationship? Is it right for you at this time? And I let her make that decision. I said, but wasn't there lots of red flags there? He goes, loads. But I still love her. And that's the thing, you love somebody, you go through, you walk through treacle, and it's not always good. So I did feel bad that day.
Yeah. Do you think there is a massive collective theme about relationships? Would you say that? I mean, people have relationship issues all the time.
All the time.
You know, but have you noticed a change from what it was perhaps like 20 years ago to what it is now in terms of how we view relationships?
I think people are more needy now, if I'm straight. They need to be in a relationship.
That's interesting.
People are scared to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you say more so from the female or the male?
Female.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get controversial on this one, but I see the amount of men that come to see me, single men, that are very frightened of females because of the way females are. If you could call it taking their power back, I don't see it that way. I think it's rude a lot of the times, the way women speak to men.
Yeah.
because they base it as a general. All men act this way. No, they do not. Just because you've had a bad relationship doesn't mean you then
Project
would
that.
project it. And unfortunately, that's what's happening.
Yeah. See, for me, when I've had clients, I've had a lot of women say, he's not doing this. Why isn't he doing, he keeps doing that. And I'm like, well, actually, we need to take responsibility of how we're showing up.
Yes.
Because, and I suppose that's self-projection, really. But I think I agree with you. Do you think it's because a lot of women they're disconnected from themselves, they don't value themselves, so they're coming from a place of need and attachment?
I think it's social media.
Social media.
Not being good enough. I'm not as pretty as her. I'm not as slim as her.
Yeah.
That's what I get a lot of.
And it's so sad because half of what you see on social media isn't even
It's
real anyway.
It's false. And so I'm always, 9 times out of 10 I will compliment somebody, particularly the eyes. Eyes are, for me, is the most important thing, and that's what I say to them. I get people who are struggling to lose weight, and men like women with a bit of meat on them. You talk to most men.
Like something to grab hold of.
Yes, basically.
Stuff then.
Yes. No, but we're all different. We're all individual. None of us are perfect, and it's about being the best version of yourself for yourself.
Yeah.
So and that's why I talk about coming home, because the only person that can ever give you true happiness is you.
Absolutely.
Everyone else can give it you, but can take it away. So if you're not happy with yourself, warts and all, it's a hard struggle, but that's why I'm massive on forgiveness. I'll do a letter to somebody if they've upset me and burn it and forgive them, just to get rid of it.
Because by that forgiveness, a lot of people struggle with that. Well, how can I forgive that person what they did to me? And it's like, well, it's again standing in your own power, but in a positive way. So by forgiving that other person, you're freeing yourself up from the story, the drama, everything that led you to that place. Staying stuck in it and holding grudges forever and a day doesn't serve you or anyone, because the attachment is still there. They'll probably be getting on with their life doing whatever, but it's you that's suffering.
Exactly
it's
right.
you that's suffering in that moment.
And if you imagine, that's just one instant, and then there's another one in your life and another one in your life. Eventually that's all in your soul, and this is my belief, it comes out of your soul and then it starts to go into your physical body and will cause physical, mental or emotional illness.
Yeah.
So therefore, why would you... I say to people, are they worth dying for? That's one of my favourite things, are they worth dying for?
I love the fact that you're so direct. It's
but
brilliant.
I'm 64 now, so I can get away with it.
And you're a Scorpio.
But if you'd met me 15 years ago, I was very shy.
I think it
Even
is
as an
that,
advisor.
isn't it? It's like the more that you know yourself, and I think age, with that comes that filter kind of leaves.
Well,
so
I use that as an
literally
excuse. I'm old, I can say it.
But it's brilliant because if you look at the older generation, there's no filter there.
No.
They've gone past all of that, all the wisdom and everything that they've the things that younger people, even our younger selves, would have worried about when we were, in your teens or your 20s or even your 30s. It's like people in their 70s, they're like, what?
Yeah.
Why is that even an issue? But sometimes it's just a learning process that we all have to go through. And like, if you look at yourself now and look at yourself back 20 years ago, you go, why did I show up doing that? But again, it comes with experience and it comes with wisdom.
Yeah, but I've sat with, I think my eldest client's 90. And I've sat, and I remember one, and she was like 87, and she was a lovely, lovely lady. And her sadness was because her father died when she was 8. And she was never allowed to grieve him, ever. Right. So I went through a grieving process with her, and he came and he gave her all these lovely messages. And for her, that was all she ever wanted, somebody to acknowledge the fact that she could grieve as an 8-year-old. And that had controlled her all her life, and it turned her into a very bitter lady. Very bitter lady. And as soon as she let that go, you could see everything just relax.
Yeah.
I said, why didn't I do this years ago? Why have I pushed everyone away? Because that's the way she coped. So if anyone died around her, she just internalised it, got harsher and harsher. And when I first met her, I was scared of her because she was really scary. But then when you sat with her and the dad come through and you could see this little girl sitting there, that's going to make me cry,
It's
yeah.
pain and the wounds that we carry, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just goes to show how many masks that people wear.
Oh, totally.
And, you know, people will say, oh, God, I don't like her or him. You know, they show up like this. And then actually you just don't know what's gone on for them. And that's having that, going back to that compassion that you talk about as well.
And we can be compassionate, we can be empathic, but we can also look after ourselves. We don't have to give everything to everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Jane, you're doing some amazing work.
I don't see it like that.
Do you not?
No.
How do you see it?
I just feel if I can help one person live their life how they want to, that's what it should be.
Yeah. Wow. So, amongst all your other work that you do, supporting people, you own a centre, a wellbeing centre.
Correct.
I mean, how did that start?
I moved to Shrewsbury from Mid Wales, and then a little unit came up, so I thought I'll open it as a little gift shop and have a room for healings and readers, because that's what I was, a reader and a healer. And then I realised to stay a therapist and a reader, people unfortunately put me on a very high pedestal. So I had to walk away from one of them. So I walked away from the healing side. So I only realistically normally offer any sort of therapy if they are terminal, and that's what I give for free because I think that's important.
Oh, that's lovely.
And the reading side for me, I see it as a luxury. You might not see it as that, but I do.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I did that was because the majority of people I was meeting, I realised they needed something deeper to what I could give them, and that was emotional or energy healing. So majority of my clients will see my therapists, and that's how it built. So there's 17 of us that work at Mystique now. They're all self-employed, and they all offer different things. We've got readers, we've got different energy healings that we offer there, past life regression, life coaching. So I try and have quite an eclectic mix there, and we all have to gel to make it work. So if you don't suit me, then you're not. I don't have somebody in my building that doesn't suit me on the therapy side.
Yeah,
that's
so
refreshing though, isn't it? Because it's when the entanglement starts and it creates disharmony. That's not serving anybody.
No, I just think there's lots of Reiki therapists, lots of different therapists, but people are pulled to people.
Yeah,
and I have two that actually teach Reiki, for example. They're very different, so therefore one can be pulled to Alan or one to Nina, and so therefore I just like helping. I think that's my problem. I never make any money. I'm always broke. But for me, I keep saying Spirit will look after me when I go up there. I'm not coming back. I've decided this is my last one, and that's probably I work so hard, and I think. Somebody asked once, could I help him in the shop? So we sell crystals, we're big in crystals. Can I work in your shop for a day? They worked 4 hours and said, I can't stay here. We've had people that have had physical meltdowns in the shop.
Because of the energy? No,
because of where they are. You walk in our shop, even, I'll talk about my one brother. My brother doesn't believe in any of this. And he actually came, he's never been to my shop, and he came to visit me. And after about an hour, he went, it's very calming in here, isn't it, Jane? I went, yeah. He goes, I can't believe how calm I feel. And for somebody who's very, he's not into this at all, for him, he was very surprised. So he started asking questions. But we get people that will walk in and just burst into tears and go, why am I crying? And it's because I work very hard at the healing energies in the centre.
Yeah.
Somebody said, why have you opened in such a shit area? Because it's on an industrial estate. I said, because shit areas need me. I don't want to be in the middle of Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
I want to be out the way where I know people are coming for a reason, not just popping in to have a browse.
Yeah,
And
it's like being that beacon of light, really.
It is, and it's a safe place. We have kids that come in, we have these kids that come in, they get so excited when they come in. And everyone, it is a safe place. If you're suicidal, we go through all the process of mental health, if you give them numbers. But there is a lot of help there, that's needed. And I love it when somebody drives past a few times, and this man came in the other day, said, I've drove past here 4 times, and I think, shall I come in? He said, today felt the day. Oh. He's a big, bulky bloke who you'd never think would walk in. He goes, oh, isn't it nice in here? So what do you do? And then we talked about what we do. And he said, right. And he bought a crystal, which he'd never said. I'd never buy a crystal, but he actually bought a crystal. And so he's coming back.
That's brilliant.
Incredible.
And for me, I just think that's the needs. And this is where it's about having families. I see Mystique as a family. And I get a little bit, and this is where my Scorpio side of me comes in, where people judge other people, where people belittle other people. Go, oh, you don't want to go there, they're crap. It's like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
If somebody comes to me and they don't live near us, I'll go, right, I know this healer, and this reader. Go and see them. So I'm really big on sending people elsewhere.
That's this is something I talk about all the time, about we're all trying to do the same thing.
Yes.
And it's not about...
There's competition sometimes.
Yeah, it's not about, holding on to these people, they're mine. It's about supporting each other.
It is, totally.
Whether, the therapist round the corner and you're doing the same thing, it's all about, and I think that's the old way of thinking.
Yeah.
And we're trying to come away from that.
But I think too many are frightened,
Yeah.
I've been slated a few times by people. That's their problem. I'm not bothered.
Yeah. Well, what people say is none of our business.
No.
And also it depends where they are on their consciousness.
Yes.
And all that jazz. And it's about knowing who you are and who you're not.
Yeah. And I think as long as we all have, I've had people come in the shop and they've been told by a medium that their daughter is going to die in childbirth. For me, that is out of order. Mm-hmm. And if she told me who it was, I'd have actually contacted that person and said, come on, mate.
We actually had a conversation about this with one of our previous guests, is if you had come through... if you were doing a reading with somebody and you had something come through that person was going to be in a car accident and they may die, would you tell them?
I do have rules.
Yes.
So I do have rules. I don't talk about death, serious illness or serious accident, or if your partner's cheating on you. Mm-hmm. You have to have those rules.
So etiquette.
Totally.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's what we interpret as it's given to us, and could we have interpreted it wrong? Now, if I can see an accident, I will say to somebody, just be careful, I see a bend, and I'll describe what I'm seeing, and they go, I know where that is, and I'll go, between these dates, just take a little bit of time. I remember one girl, I said, you don't look where you're going. I said, and you're going to be crossing the road. I said, and you're going to get your leg broken, and I can see blue plaster. She said, you don't have blue plaster. I said, well, that's what I'm seeing. What happened? She walked out in front of a car too soon, broke a leg, and they ended up putting blue plaster on her leg instead of white because they'd run out of the white stuff. I've had all sorts of incidences where people, but I don't, because I don't want somebody going away worrying. That's not
really
what I'm
good.
doing.
Traction, isn't it?
But if I see that there's a possible illness coming, I will say, right, you need to deal with this, this, and this, and I think that's really important.
No, it is.
So I do have
etiquette.
You have to.
Absolutely. Can you believe it, Jane? We've sort of coming to an end.
That's it. That's
now.
very quick. Nice to see you both.
Really fascinating.
But it's been such a pleasure
thank you for having me.
get to know you and about what you do. Before we finish, have you got any words of wisdom for people who are listening to you?
Oh, that's a big one. I don't have words of wisdom. I think the biggest thing that Spirit has taught me is to forgive. Forgiveness. And to forgive, you write that person a letter. You write down everything you want to scream and shout at them. Do not read the letter as you're writing it, because it goes back in. Burn it, and as you burn it, you say, I forgive, and you name that person, and I forgive myself. That will cut that cord that's there, that's hot. And I think that is what I can honestly say changed. When I look at everything that's happened in my life, that's the one thing.
That's
that
massive,
changed
because if
my
someone's
life.
listening to this now, and
He brought me home.
Yeah. Forgiveness. If anyone's listening to this, because I think forgiveness is a massive thing for most people.
And it doesn't mean you've got to be all, what's the word I want to get, all loveless, love and light. That's not what it's about. It's about saying, right, I'm ready to let that go. I'm not going to hold it as a regret anymore. I'm going to let that go because it's gone and I cannot change it. And I need to live in the here and now, not the future, because we don't know what's coming, but the here and now, which is the most important part of us.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing I'd give.
Yeah.
But thank you both. Lovely to
Thank
to
you.
No,
see you
thank
both.
you.
Both
That's
very
lovely
fascinating.
to finish on.